Hello, welcome to Law and Order. It's a police procedural set in Waterdeep, starring some of your favorite Twitter shit posters. We will not be having a standard session today, as unfortunately, too many of our players have been taken offline. There's been some ISP issues floating around today in the United States of America, and Feely is off at the dentist. So, we've got Keegan, Ren, and the Sween joining us today. Thanks again to Mitch for some last-minute adjustments to the stream setup. And, you know, we're not really that far into Chapter 2 because our heroes keep going off drinking, booze hounding, vomiting in barrels. It's great. So, you know, a little bit of streaming recap. Gentlemen, what are you feeling?
What are we feeling?
By all means, Ren, if you would like to start talking about how we're feeling, I would.
Okay, so can you reframe the question for me a little bit? How do you mean? How are we feeling? I'm feeling.
Let's talk about Chapter 1 to begin with. Chapter 1 was designed as an endurance marathon. There were a number of encounters. There were no rests in between. You could possibly have taken a short rest for all the good that might have done. What was your thought at the end of it?
So I was gassed pretty hard at the end of Chapter 1. I'd spent every spell. I'd not taken like a ton of damage, but literally every ability I had was tapped. And then on top of that, we started hitting a wall of just shitty rolls after shitty rolls. So it just was not. It was not ideal, but it's been a little while. This is actually the first cleric I've ever played, like ever. Mm-hmm. You know, I've done other things where I splashed a cleric, but this is the first like, this is my job. I am the cleric kind of thing. And it's the first one I've ever played, so I'm kind of getting used to the priorities that you set with your spell casting and where you're going to be. Because my natural inclination is I want to go beat some ass, and to an extent, Charise is sort of built to still beat some ass. She can still do some damage, but she's not a damage dealer, you know what I mean? Yep. Like she is not, even like some casters can be like, they can soften up a lot of targets, and some casters are like single target, they can burn down a single target very well. Charise is not either one of those things. She's not even like necessarily a good buff bot right now. She is a medic essentially.
Yeah, you're a baby cleric, you know, you're not ready. You're not ready for all the
ready for the big time
spiritual weapon guided bolt combos, just absolutely ruining DM's creations. So I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
We also got a bit of a ignore that was supposed to be copy image. We got a little bit of a look at Charise on Twitter in slightly better detail, which I'm just putting up in the view screen.
The safe for work version.
Yep. We don't talk about such things on Law and Order, and we certainly don't post questionably, probably not safe for work versions on the official Law and Order account. No, sir, we do not.
Not at all. Not even slightly.
Right. So, Sweeney.
Okay, me, I'm nervous, but when it comes to me, I felt it was very like action packed. The first part, you know, it was a lot going on. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a hooligan at heart, so anytime I can like hit things and do jump off stuff and use my sword and my crossbow to do stuff, it's always fun for me. But just like Ren, my hunter's talent, like my homebrew ability that I used was gone. I have no spells yet because I was level 1. I was definitely like at the end of my rope. I had my sword and a dream, and things worked out. So I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And so far, chapter 2 is giving me like the same kinds of vibes where it's just like, we are going to have to talk to a lot of people and figure out a lot of stuff to get this going. But I am more than happy to do it. I love it.
Nice. Cool. Keegan, the winner of Hearts and Minds, friend of all millions.
Yeah, this is my second character ever that I've got to actually play, and it's quite a bit different than my druid because he's like Tento's like a touch me not, like he has to stay back because he's so soft. And I think it's fun trying to figure out how to play like a different kind of caster. But yep. I think we had, like you said, it was an endurance run. I think we had a pretty good role play mix at the same time. It wasn't like heavy role play those first couple episodes. It's definitely like a slower burn because like it's been what two days and we've streamed for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Together, I think.
Thereabouts, yeah.
So, like the other campaign I do, like we'll do a 2-hour session will be like an entire day. So it's definitely like the pacing is something that I'm enjoying. So you can really explore the character more.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted the idea for that first night to be throwing you guys in the deep end, but as we talked about before the show even started, Law and Order is going to be. We still want some of that wacky hijinks. I wouldn't have written something with shit posters in mind if it wasn't going to be like that. But yeah, we definitely want a more forethought. We want a tactical sort of campaign. You guys are an experimental task force now, so when you guys got to the machine on the second floor up in the renovated area, did you think that was the finale? Did that have an air of the final battle about it?
For that encounter, yeah, definitely. It definitely had like weird. Like I was like, this guy has his hand stuck on the thing. I'm going to remove his head from his neck. We're gonna be done. We're gonna level up. This is gonna be amazing. And then you threw a wrench. You threw a wrench, a very good wrench in us. And I was just like, oh my God, tiny hut. And then luckily I was able to mark him and use my survival to track him a little bit. But it was too much movement. We couldn't keep up. So I was like, I guess he's gone. Fuck. And I thought that would be it, but then nope. The freaking Charise going down and like figuring out like, hey, we got a bomber. Watch out. It threw me for a loop. I was just like, wait, what? There's more? Surprise.
Suicide bomber just casually walking through the marketplace.
Some attractive lady with some bombs on her neck. What's going on?
Meanwhile, Cade, I can save her.
We gotta interrogate her a little bit more, I think, too. Maybe hit her up in the cell and
say less.
Yeah, so that's certainly coming along a bit more. You've got holding cells now. This is obviously something we've been working on our map making stream over the last couple of weeks. I think Sweeney, you were there for the first one.
I was there for the house. I wasn't there for the renovation.
You were there for the end of the house. That's right.
House,
yeah.
yes.
So Keegan joined me for some of this, and we've obviously now you've got a better idea of how you guys have literally been chucked in the back room in amongst all the shit. Like, yeah, you guys are minor celebrities. No one gives a shit. At least not in the watch, anyway.
Not a half a fuck.
So, yeah, a lot of that idea of, I said it was supposed to be an endurance match, but I'm loving this opportunity to be like, this is what I wanted. How did you receive it? The idea of setting up that climactic battle at the top of the tenement building was so that when you guys got to that final scene in the dancers' court, tracking down the operative, it was almost purely a puzzle. You know, all of the strong abilities would be tapped out. I mean, I think the most used spell would have been Tenzo's message cantrip.
Yeah. And I didn't even think that I would be using that often. But yeah, the going to the top, you're reaching the climax. I assumed, like, we found the bomb, we're in the hornet's nest. I assumed that was the end, and then when the contingency plan thing happened, I was like, I think all my spell slots are gone. I'm not prepared for whatever he's gonna throw at me. And those scrolls that we were given, those were a big help.
Yeah, well, I thought detect magic, it might be a little too early to for anyone to be throwing that many levels around. So that was definitely placing a very strong hint in the direction you might want to be going. But it's still very much within the world. Like it wasn't too much of a hand wave from where I was sitting writing it. That it's a pretty big, powerful, magical phenomena. They don't want people experimenting with it, so having some detect magic on standby seemed like a reasonable thing, not an arse pull. I was curious when not everyone started using it.
Sorry.
And also, I just want to say that the necklace of fireballs has a dice roll to determine how many beads are on it. I think it's something like 2 plus 1d8. So I rolled the d8, and I got an 8.
Ooh.
Oh,
so
man.
If people later on, when we publish the adventure, if people want to play this at home, you know, they might get a very small contained blast. You guys just were lucky. You got the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, we would have had a lot of dead people. Don't average people have like 10 HP? So it would have been a lot of charred meat.
Yeah,
all over the place.
A bunch of regular folks completely toasted.
Normal people.
Yeah. So, well, part of the point is that there is a way to continue the story after that. As a DM, I guess it is partially my job to make sure not everybody dies, like not the whole team dies, but the watch, and this is something that will be in the adventure write up. The watch has sort of a budget allocated towards bringing people back from the dead. Sometimes it might be raised dead on a murder victim or someone who tried to off themselves. I'll never talk. You'll never take me alive. And they'll go, wrong, and then bring them back up.
Yeah, they don't all have Charise kicking around to keep them from offing themselves.
Wasn't expecting that. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah, so if everyone had been wiped out, the story can still continue because effectively you still save the day. You stop the moonsphere from being blown up. It's just going to be, Chapter 2 is going to be set in a slightly different environment where they're going to be like, they saved the city, but not everyone's going to be happy. It's like, sure, you saved the city, but my house is gone. My family got blown up, all of that. So, you know, like there's the good ending, there's the bad ending, but both of them will still be able to get you forward into Chapter 2.
Okay, cool. That's really dope.
What would the plan have been if a character had perma-died?
Well, the thing is, you can't really perma-die in D&D in this way. Like, you could, as a player, decide, no, my character's not coming back. Like, you might... With Raised Dead, it's not necessarily a be-all and end-all. It's not like your gods finally welcome you into their bosom in the outer realms, you're in heaven, or whatever version of heaven you follow, and they're like, I'm so glad you've... Oop, sorry, someone cast a spell, my hands are tied, off you fuck. Like, it doesn't really work that way.
It's like the spirit's choice for the most part, right?
Yeah, it's very much the spirit's choice. So if one of y'all had been blown up, you could have been like, look, I'm not feeling like Ren. You might have decided, look, I'm really, really not feeling this purely support spell slinger, and decided, I'm going to start a new character. Would have been difficult, but I hinted that Mayrose had she already had a list of names for her task force, and instead she got landed with you lot. So that's sort of a backup. Like, if any of you go, now that I'm getting the gist of the campaign, I want to do a different character, you can either retire your character, we can kill your character off, and then you can bring in a replacement from Mayrose's list.
Gotcha. Of course, I'm gonna kill my character off because who retires? Yeah,
man.
Fuck that.
Well, you could just go full Tenzo on the wrong person. She's dead!
Christ.
She just happened to be the family member of a hidden lord of Waterdeep, and now Tenzo's back on the street,
In trouble. I have a question, guys. How does everybody feel about each other's characters? That's what I want to see. So, so far, what's the vibe we're getting from each other? This would be great if everyone was here. This would have been a great thing to ask, because I know fucking Jess and Doe would have had insane stuff to say, and then fucking Donovan, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that Lenore. I don't know about how I feel about that Lenore.
Yeah.
Let's put Lenore to one side for the moment. Let's talk. Lenore is a whole different episode.
That's who else I was supposed to draw. Lenore.
Please don't draw sexy Lenore. I can't do that. I can't.
Donovan was an pin-up of Lenore.
Donovan asks, he shall receive.
Donovan is the Crypt Daddy.
Ren, we are friends. Please don't do this to me. Don't make this exist.
I'll tell you what. I'll put it to outside arbitration. I will get an impartial person who has nothing to do with the game, and I will ask Smokey if I should do this.
Why would you do this? Why would you ask her? You know what she's going to do.
All right, we'll put it to a vote.
Queen angry? Will this make Queen angry? She'll be like, yeah, it'll make him really upset. And then I'll be like, oh man.
We'll put it
could traumatize him.
I want a poll tweet from the Law and Order account, pin up Lenore or no.
Okay.
Jesus.
There we go.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Let me take a picture of her. All right, can you post pictures of polls? I don't think you can.
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know, actually. That's I don't know that one.
God.
So let's go back here. What Ren, what was your initial impression from we all had a basic idea of the characters we were going to roll out with, and then the first night happened. What did you have any reservations? Did someone's character come out very different from how you expected them to?
No, actually, everyone's characters are pretty much not Sween's. Sween's character is not at all how I thought, because I have played a game with Sween, and his other character is very different from this one. You would say my Dragonborn?
Yeah,
your Dragonborn's very different than
How would you say?
Character.
How would you say that?
Your Dragonborn is very, very direct, and he's kind of he's not soft spoken per se, but he's definitely got a solemn warrior vibe to him, this dude don't. He doesn't.
Seems heroic.
He seems like a guy who walks the line of whether or not he is a cop or a perp on a daily basis.
I feel so attacked.
We're not fun. We're maybe one bad day away from you just being that dirty cop.
Not Waterdeep, it's Wiredeep.
The wire's depth.
Swain, is there anyone who took you a bit by surprise, or
and knowing Keegan and knowing Tenzo, that shit, it was like someone flipped my bed while I was sleeping in it. Because Keegan is a clown, obviously, but he's not crazy. Tenzo is actually like not okay. Like I think Lenore is the more balanced out one, and Keegan's like, you know, like I could just fuck around and kill somebody, you know, like this could happen.
So Michael,
But I love it.
Yeah, Michael and I talked about this. Like we came up with some way to make my character less criminally insane with the experimental medication, and we decided that when I'm on the medication is when the levels of wizard are going to be had, and then when I'm off the medication and crazy is when the levels of bard are going to be taken.
No.
This shit is fucking bananas.
I don't know if I'll be able to keep like a high level of insanity up, or if I'll like take it all at once, because I'm only going to do so many levels of bard. I'll be mostly wizard throughout the campaign. So I don't know if I'm going to have a blue period. I'm going to have my pecan. Just lose it or not. So
I was.
Yeah, we did talk a little bit about this because, you know, it is still going to be a very political style campaign. Like, you guys will be dealing with some VIPs. No one knows who the Lords of Waterdeep are, but everyone's pretty sure that, like, out of these 6 people, at least 2 of them have got to be Lords of Waterdeep. And you're going to be, like, hanging out with all of them at one point or another. Because you know, we've all seen enough police procedurals to know we're like, hey, what are we doing on this murder case? This is a murder case. And they're like, yes, but the Vic's wife is the daughter of a senator, and so they asked for us.
I like it.
So, you know, once you guys are a little more established, then people are going to be like, hey, this seems like a big deal. I want the wardens on this, you know? Depending on what sort of a name the wardens make for themselves, which is, you know, part of the reason we were like, what if Tenzo gets back on his meds? And they're like, what do you mean? What meds? The meds he's clearly been off.
The meds he's supposed to have been on.
I liked the moment where it was just Ophelia and I aside, and I said something about like I'm not on my meds or something. And she said, "Oh," and it just like clicked in her head. And then, like later on, she said, "I'm starting to realize that Tenzo is crazy." And I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to tone it back a little bit.
Okay, so for reference, my first interactions with these 3 gentlemen was in starting this planning this live stream. So obviously, I know Jess. I'd had some interactions with Jenna on Twitter before. This is the first time I've really gotten to know her. And obviously, I met Jess through Donovan. But Keegan, when we were chatting, you know, Keegan comes, like, he's a bit goofy, he's a clown, but he's a sweetheart. So I knew Tenzo was going to be a little bit offbeat. And then Tenzo opened his mouth for the first time. I didn't know this, man.
Not expecting it at fucking all, dude. But I knew Keegan was a friend of Donovan's, and Donovan is Donovan. So I'm like, there's gonna be something. There has to be something to this guy. You know, like he can't be a run of the mill dude. You know, he's friends with Donnie, and then like you ran in the girl's room and like threatened her, and I was just like, what?
Okay,
I guess it's that kind of campaign. All right, cool. And I'm down. I guess I can let myself fly a little bit, and it's great. And I love Charise's good cop whole spiel. Like, oh, I'm a bookworm, and I don't think we should be doing this. That doesn't seem safe. And I was just like, oh, I guess. Well, Gabriel's like, fuck this dude. But I'm like, you know what? She'll tone me down a bit. She'll keep me.
Well, and one of the main reasons why I play Charise that way is because she went too far off the reservation in an investigation. That's why she got demoted down here. You know, she is a dick hair away from being booted off the force entirely. So she's like, I can't do this shit. I gotta I gotta stay on the path.
That's the most fun, dude. The lack of ambitions is what makes it so fun for me. Because me and Mike haven't gone over the exactity of like my backstory yet. We're gonna leave that for like a few more chapters in because I don't want to bog anyone down with like my character's ideas. But like my character, as you guys can tell, is a rather free spirit in a manner of speaking. You know, he's kind of just having fun, and he's getting paid, he's doing his thing, and he has, there's some good in there somewhere, like me and freaking Lenore, our little bonding moments. Like she became my friend, she became like my little buddy.
I love it every time Gabe's like, hey, I'm gonna sidle over to Lenore and say hello, and everyone else is like, nope, time.
Don't do that. I'm like, what? She's innocent.
Don't talk to it.
Yeah, Nixie.
You can't sit with us.
Yeah. Was like born out of like how to keep my character interesting as someone who's supposed to be dulled down. And I think Lenore is a pretty good balance. I think I have some plans for her. Not anything crazy, but I'm not too sure what direction I want to go with her.
Okay. Little bit of feedback on an NPC. As you've seen, Yalden Saldor is up in the view screen at this point. What are we thinking? Like, in writing, I was trying very hard to steer away from, Gary Stu. This is a character you're supposed to like, because obviously that's not necessary. He's sort of written as a bit of a foil for another NPC who'll show up later. And obviously it was great to watch Tenzo interact with him. I'm curious to get your feeling on how he made it from paper through DM and onto screen.
Well, he's obviously handsome. I noticed that immediately. I was like, he's a handsome young guy.
Sweet talker, you. Of course, I am here to help. But he had devilishly good looking.
He has that potentially Spaniard accent. I was like, oh, I'm on board with him already. That's me. That's Kingston. Sweeney's like, oh, he's cool. Gabe is like, fuck this prissy asshole. I bet I could kill him. I bet I could kill him easy.
I could take him. I could take him.
I think I felt the exact same way. Like, I think Tenzo, like, that's obviously someone that I would want to be friends with in real life, and then Tenzo would look for any reason for that person to be as far away from him as possible. Like, because I don't need anyone else ruining whatever plot that Ornipus and I have been cooking up.
You and Orny are up to something. I knew it. I like Ornipus, though. I really like Ornipus. He gives me good vibes, He seems like really like stoic, like like I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm angry about stuff. But I don't know. Mom. That little date we had, that really whipped him down a little bit. That hand holding, I felt something there. I felt something during that hand holding session.
You might almost say it was a mandate.
Mandate.
Sir, I'm gonna need to see your license for that joke.
I'm afraid I'm not a dad. I'm so sorry.
It's really cool. I like Philia is just so pleasant. She's just so unbelievably pleasant that it's fine right now, but like after like a hard fight where like I'm almost dead, I'll be like, just shut up. Stop hopping.
Philia paired with Nixie's abrasiveness is probably one of my favorite dynamics so far.
It is really funny.
Yeah, no, I think my favorite image from the entire first chapter is still this idea of Philia laying flat on her back with a keg of wine pouring straight into her mouth, but that little tail just going thump 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 like happily on the floor. It's just the most out there image.
My favorite idea is the idea of her getting shot when she got hit with the arrow and like half of her life just left her body. It's the idea of that. It's like she gets hit and like this really chipper, like prancing little fawn just instantly way less alive. Just like, whoa,
I'm fine,
man.
guys. Pale gray face.
Pale, sweating profusely.
I'm rolling dice, and I'm like, oh no.
Is that a caster I'm hitting?
So this is what happens, guys.
So,
Oh,
since
man.
we can't see most of your rolls, are you trying to keep it as honest as possible, or have you fudged anything?
The first rule of DM dice rolling is never fudge your rolls. You take away agency from the players by doing that.
And the
Mhm.
second
And the-
rule is to
The
lie.
second rule is if you ever fudge your rolls, refer to rule 1.
Exactly. That is, as someone who's DM'd a few times myself, I lie. I don't give a shit. I lie about the rules. If like, oh man, like if it's mostly for effect. I'll never fudge a roll when it's a life or death situation. I think that
I haven't
is
either.
not when you do it, But when it's a situation, when it's like like, oh, and I wouldn't do like huge numbers, like maybe 1 or 2, like, oh, this went through or that went through, or for like mostly for me the damage dice. I fudge damage dice every now and then. Like when I roll a damage dice and like I fuck up the numbers, like this freaking this Orcus swings his Orcus sword and he does. Are you serious? 8 damage. I look over to the page and I'm like, he does 20 damage. It's like, yeah.
Well, it's otherwise, I mean, in this campaign, you could probably get away with that. It's like he swings his mighty sword, the sound whooshing of air cleaving as the sword comes. He does 8 damage as just the tip.
Just
You
the
get
tip.
scraped just by the tip of the blade, and you're just like.
See,
I know my
I like
girlfriend's
to
watching
be
it too.
I like to be trying to straddle that line between letting the dice tell part of the story, but also like you don't want it to be too easy, you don't want it to be too hard. Like my dream as a DM is to have you guys triumph, but by the skin of your teeth, or by some very, very clever planning. Like if you guys do this incredible plan and you're all on comms, slinging message cantrips around, timing your spells perfectly, dropping a sleep here and a feather fall there and whatever, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you guys are just gonna fucking Rainbow Six Las Vegas this stuff, If you're in open battle, then the dice need to tell me how that battle's gonna go. But I don't want you guys to be just like skipping through with your swords, cleaving everyone in half. I don't want like half the team to go down in the very first encounter. It's about trying to get that balance, working with the dice, not just like fudging the dice because this is how I wanted it to go, or fudging the dice because, oh fuck, you're all gonna die. I didn't plan this properly. Like, this is the first time I've been writing encounters, so balancing encounters is a huge deal.
It's a bitch.
I think the only time I've ever fudged rolls was when I fucked up. Like if I'm running a game and I massively fucked something up. So a long time ago, I put together a encounter for a friend of mine who was playing, and it was him and my girlfriend at the time, and we get into this encounter and it's got some incorporeal undead, and I completely spaced the fact that they didn't have anything that could really do full damage to the incorporeal undead.
Yep.
So I had to really kind of like think fast, and I had to kind of fudge some stuff a little bit just so they didn't end up dead because I was an idiot,
I can say the same. I've definitely ran the Chalk campaign, Tomb of Annihilation. That campaign is not for beginning D&D players, even slightly. Like that's for like people that have played that's people that played Tomb of Annihilation, like Tomb of Horrors, and they're like, oh, I know what to expect somewhat when dealing with Chalk and its undead bullshit. So I brought my friends into it, and one of the first jobs you can do when you get to Chalk is you go fight a gladiator and get back money he stole. I didn't know a gladiator was a CR5 like 100 HP and a parry and a shield and all that shit. And I was just like, they're level 2. They can't beat this guy. So I played it out and he killed everyone. He killed every single one. He threw them to like raptors in like this cage. Like it was really fucked up. And I was just like, oh man. And that's the beginning. That's just the start of it. That's like you're supposed to beat him and get him like to below 50 HP, but they got him to like 80 HP, and they all got just defiled. And after that, I was like, oh, I can't play this campaign as it's written. I have to use my mind to make these encounters sensible.
Right. Look, you pick up book Tomb of Annihilation, you flip it over, you see the words adventure for players from levels 1 to something, and then you see the word Chult written up top, and you go, one of these things is not like the other one.
Exactly.
This doesn't work.
Chult is brutal. Like, it is the place where people go to not be alive anymore.
So, quick break here. I just want to point out, I'm seeing some new names in the chat, so I just want to give a big shout out to everyone. Thanks for coming along. Unfortunately, you're sort of missing some of the adventure, but hopefully you're getting a little bit of a look into the back end. Thanks for coming. We hope to see more of you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, so I want to ask you guys a little bit about the multimedia aspect that we're trying to go for with Law and Order, particularly the broadsheets that we're going to be releasing on Twitter.
I love that idea. It's so cool to me.
Yeah, I always really like having those like extra little tidbits. One of the things that I'll do all kinds of like random weird shit. I'll just get like some weird wild hair across my ass when I'm doing a campaign, and I'll just be like, yo, this aspect of the game needs a ridiculous amount of detail, and it needs these extra things, and it needs this, and it needs that. And there was one game I did where so anyone who's played Overwatch, when you're starting a match, it'll be like welcome to, and then it'll show you like a splash image of the map that you're about to start on, you know? Mm-hmm. And that to me always felt kind of like almost like a travel agent is telling you like, okay, we're going here. And it's kind of like that old school Street Fighter vibe where every time you pick something, you got the plane that goes to like the different countries. And so I was like, so there was one campaign I did where I had to do, for the first few sessions, I did sketches that were just scenery. You know, it wasn't my usual content. It was just the scenery. It was an establishing shot. So it'd be like, welcome to this village. And it'd be like, this is what it looks like when you enter. And I kept doing that over and over. And I really liked how that looked. But I realized I was spending so much time just doing this one thing that's basically on the screen for a maximum of 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then you never use it again. So
classic.
Yeah.
Well, and sorry, go on.
And there have been times where I've set up other things too that were a little smarter than that, where I can use them multiple times. So I have a binder. If I could open the thing behind me here, I'd show you this binder I have for like games that I run at a table. And on the binder, or in the binder rather, I have various tables for what the weather is going to be like in certain parts of my world that I've created. Mm-hmm. So depending on where the players have gone, they'll be like, okay, all right, it's just the time of the week. I'll flip to the thing, I'll roll and be like, it's going to rain. You know, like it's...
That's going to be a thing in Waterdeep. I know tables have been drawn for weather in general. And there's enough information on the Waterdehavian, I guess, ecosystem. Winter is like 80% snow, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you guys had such a miserable time in the opening scene, because it's winter. So I want to be able to just quickly roll a dice at the beginning of each day and go, oh yeah, that's a thing. But when you're talking about putting all this effort into a drawing and it's there for 5 minutes and it's never there again, it's something that I want to throw out. I want to be throwing out tips and plot hooks for plots that might not even appear for 6 to 12 months. You know, I'm really into this idea that not only can the viewers be reading broadsheets, getting an idea of what's going on in the city, I can run short stories that will never make it to the screen, but people can be like, oh, I'm waiting for the next edition of the Daily Trumpet, see if there's an update on this. but also it means that you poor suckers might have to go back. Like, I'll say
And
something,
read.
I'll drop a line on the show, and everyone starts scrambling for the archives. Just like, I read something about this. This was in the paper like 2 months ago, and everyone's
It's
going back
homework.
through the
It's
archives.
just homework. It's homework.
Come play D&D, he said. It will be fun, he said. Quick shout out, it's Corbet. Thank you so much for joining our Watchmen family.
What's up, dude? That's one of my bands.
You're officially a Watchman. The Law and Order emoji is there waiting for you. Again, thanks so much. I was also thinking... Sorry, Sween.
Oh, no, it's okay. Continue.
I got a question.
Okay. Go on.
So, what kind of like storyline are you going for? Is it like it starts narrowly and has quite a few endings? Is it open-ended? Because you said you wanted to get to level 20. Is it more of like a straightforward, like pine tree that comes to a point, or is it like an oak that has kinds of endings?
I'll say this much, that the first 5 chapters that I've sketched out, and obviously I've written the first 2 chapters, and I'm starting on chapter 3. Obviously, as we talked about before the stream started, and I posted a picture of my band on the weekend. You know, my body's not been great for writing lately, so I've been watching a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The first 5 chapters are fairly linear. It's going to be largely focused on this one case.
Okay.
After that, it's going to be a little bit like I might have 3 or 4 story arcs lined up, and it will be very much up to the team as to if they pursue one of them, if they want to split their time between a couple of investigations. So it's really going to be a back and forth partnership between me as the writer and you guys as the cast members, essentially.
We could make it so that the audience decides what case.
That's very true.
No, that's how we're gonna end up with Bodie McBoatface, man.
That's true. That's true.
You can't.
I love you guys, but you guys are also lunatics at the same time. These are our fans. Remember.
Obviously, some input, okay, but we can't let too much go to crowdsourcing.
As you can see, like we've got for chapter 2 is largely going to be if chapter 1 was a marathon, chapter 2 is going to be a series of events. So it's going to enable you to go in the opposite direction, go all out on a number of occasions to really play with your characters and what they can do with their abilities, and to work out how your abilities can work in synergy with each other. So I want everyone, including you guys, to see what the team's capable of, but now in the other direction. Now that you guys have got this idea of, hey, we need to approach things from a how would this play out in the real world, should I call out, hey, I found the perpetrator and they're sneaking around down there? Charise. I did love that though, because Charise was just like, Ren was just like, look, Charise is a very straightforward, take action sort of, so I'm going to do this. And the explanation just made it work all the better, and being able to coat hanger someone twice with an absent PC and then an NPC and then an absent PC, that was great,
Fantastic.
I don't know if this is something that might have been lost in translation, but I think someone said the term that you're looking for, Michael, is clothesline.
Clothesline. Okay, that's it could be a linguistic thing, because down in Australia we often refer to them as a coat hanger.
Really?
Yeah, I know it as coat hanger too, because I've been to the UK and I've heard that there as well.
We probably inherited it from them. Australian is a lot closer to the Queen's English than American is.
Yeah, y'all don't talk like this, like bumpkins.
So I really wanted to. I had a struggle of conscience if I wanted to do a bounty hunter sorcerer or Tenzo, And I was gonna do
Ooh.
like a Western themed bounty hunter who talks pretty low like this, and he's got a bit of an accent.
You tell
I thought
you
about
tell me
doing
his first name's Jesse. We're gonna have some issues.
You just call me Smoke. No, I didn't.
Oh no!
If I retire Tenzo, that might be the kind of
I played this game of World of Darkness that my friend was running, and I was playing a mage in it, and I was only 15. You know, in a modern setting, I'm only 15, so it's like, and with my power set, basically, I was imitating a lot of Spider-Man stuff. You know, I was using magic to basically have spider-like powers, but I also was, you know, an angsty teenager, so I wanted to be like gritty. So I insisted everybody called me Spider. It's like, my name's Spider, and they're like, have you gone through puberty yet? And I'm like, I'm Spider. They'd be like,
Spider.
hey, Spider Boy, can you get into the thing and like, you know, tell us if there's any guards in there? I'm Spider.
Oh my god, I didn't play D&D during my angst age. I got into it in my 20s when I was like very much getting out of my angst. But I could just imagine the edgelord asshole pieces of shit characters I would have made in my teens. I would have made like, this character is a dragonborn, but he worships Tiamat and he's red. And then I look in and Joe McAnally has the same character. And I'm like, well, I thought of it first. That's my idea.
I'm gonna play a completely original Drow Ranger with two swords and an animal companion who. Me.
Yeah, there is once upon a time in a lot of online chat rooms with role-playing chat rooms where you're playing characters. You'd run into like 6 Drow Rangers that dual-wielded scimitars. It's a little much.
Cool. It's cool with me, bro. I love my archetypical Drow Ranger. That's like one of my heroes. So if anybody wants to do that, I'm like, hey, dude. Just to let you know, because like I love when people play Drows because they forget about sunlight sensitivity all the time, and I am the king of letting everybody understand that if you are playing a Drow and you are above ground during the daytime, you are going to hate your life. So by all means, be your Drow Ranger. Absolutely. You have your little tiger, your panther, whatever you want to do. You make an attack. Oh, man, make that a disadvantage, man. The sun's still pretty high in the sky. It's petty. It's super petty, but I fucking love it. It gives me life.
Yeah, I had a friend who wrote a really tragic backstory for his character. His vampire character who, like, you know, when he first turned, the first thing he did was kind of go into this blood frenzy, and he killed his fiance and drained her like a go-gurt and all this other shit, and it was just like, oh, I'm so tortured and all this other stuff. So it's like the first thing I did, like the first opportunity, was I brought in some like reincarnation of that fiance that was just walking around. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. It's like, the more tragic you write your backstory, the more I'm gonna fuck you with it. Like,
the more I'm gonna take you and fuck you with it. I'm gonna try to put it in you.
It's gonna be.
This is why sometimes you want a very basic adventurer. My name is Tom. I like pie. Adventuring gives me gold. Gold buys me pie.
That's it. Simple as that, dude. Your character has no qualms with anything. He's actually not a freaking medium neutral. Not good, not evil. He just needs to get pie. That's it.
I just want pie, man. I'm all about the pie.
That's it, man.
On my podcast, Let Us Quest, we have the typical sex maniac bard, the stoic barbarian, and then my druid character who's typically popping mushrooms. And we all kind of by ourselves wrote similar backstories, and then we made a joke out of it, and we call our adventuring party the Dead Family Society or the DFS. And then, like, if like someone's like, "Can I join your party?" And like, I don't know, are your parents alive? And they go, yeah. I'm like, well, you can't hang out with us. Sorry, buddy. We'll go on with it.
How badly do you want to join us? And in a completely unrelated question, what's your home address?
Where do your parents live? What's their routine by any chance? For me, I've never played. I have never, ever played an evil character. I don't have that evil bone. I have a mischievous bone, but I don't play evil. I always play good guys that are somehow roped into fuck shit, or like a good guy that's just actually he's a pretty decent guy. You know, he's like he wants to help out. He's trying to do the right thing, and it's so weird because I want to play a bad guy, but I just don't know where to start. Like, do I go like over the top chaotic evil? Like, oh, I'm gonna walk into his nursery and I'm gonna devour the first baby I can get my hands on, or am I gonna play like a lawful evil guy that's kind of like behind the shadows, evil, like doing shit underneath, like, you know, doing kind of underhanded shit. Like, I don't know how to be an evil character. It doesn't work in my brain very well.
I've found because I never played evil characters until I started DMing.
That's
and
true.
when I say that, I mean I don't play evil characters as PCs. All of my PCs are on the top row of the alignment chart. But obviously, being a DM, you have to play the evil characters. So playing them out of a book tends to be a lot easier because you know what their motivations are. They tell you how to play that character. Writing evil characters tends to be a lot more interesting because you've got to come up with the evil plot. You've got to work out the methodology, and I found it's easiest again just to remember every villain is the hero of their own story.
For sure.
You know, I think that's probably why the 6 Star Wars movies that were made, and only 6 that were made in the actual Star Wars saga. The story, you know, Star Wars is the saga of Darth Vader, of Anakin Skywalker, and you know, at no point realistic. It wasn't until he blasted Mace Windu out a window. Spoilers. It's been 20 years.
If you don't know that, go to bed. Go soak your head.
Go to bed.
Soak your head.
You're up too late. Go to bed. Yeah, so it's like it wasn't until that point that he sort of jumped off the slippery slope and went, "Oh fuck, I'm in too deep now. I will do whatever you tell me." You know, but up until that point, like everything he was doing centered around a goal: protect my wife.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great way of sort of explaining how a villain became a villain and why the villain did villainous things.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I love Anakin Skywalker. I'm a huge Star Wars, Dune, Song Ice and Fire. Like those are like my go-tos. Those are the things and Berserk. Those are the things I absorb in my free time. I sit in front of my computer. I turn on Baldur's Gate. I don't even play. I just look at how pretty the game is, and I listen to like Song of Ice and Fire like lore. And that's the kind of character I've always wanted to make, a character that can grow into being sort of from like this person that had good intentions to this guy that's like stumbled to like, I'm stumbling more and the slope is getting slippery, and I'm like, at what point, when is too far? And I've always liked the idea of that. I've never been able to do it because, you know, my brain's always like, hey, you know, calm down. don't kill that person.
Dial it back.
Chill out. There's a room full of people. They're gonna see you kill him. Then you got a town after you. You played Skyrim. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do this.
That's like Tenzo. I wanted to make him bad, not necessarily evil, but bad in the idea of like distrustful and selfish. And like I sent you guys that alignment quiz, and then it said that Tenzo was a lot more evil than I thought he was. And I didn't know how to feel about that exactly. But.
Oh, it really comes down to like, what is evil? You know, we're getting philosophical here. Oh no.
No.
You know, when we talk about evil in fantasy, we really think of the wicked overlord, the maniacal sorcerer, hands out lightning, fire, raining fireballs, burning down orphanages. Realistically, like neutral evil is just someone who's selfish, who puts themselves before others.
Yeah.
It really is that simple.
Yeah.
That's true. Their main goal is themselves. Like chaotic evil. Also, would you have allowed a chaotic evil character at the table?
I would have had a lot of questions.
Okay, just wondering, like a batshit, like, oh, that guy's not okay. Because I've played a chaotic evil person, and our team killed him because he was just too much to deal with. They were like, we gotta put him down. I think it was in I think it was in Tomb of the Mad Mage. And we were like, yo, you're tripping. You're tripping. We gotta get rid of you.
And you were too much.
That wasn't me. I wasn't the bad guy. One of my friends was, and we were like, "Yo, dude, chill out." You know, exactly.
I don't want to get into the whole culture wars D&D thing. What I'll say is, like, my strongest opinion when it comes to how do you play D&D. There is no wrong way to play a D&D. There is simply no wrong. If you can think of a way to play D&D, that is a valid way to play D&D. That doesn't mean that you're not going to find yourself at the wrong table at D&D.
Very good what it's saying.
So, it's one of the reasons, like what I laid out in the lead up when we were planning the stream. We had so much to do. We had the layouts, we had like building hype. I was working with each of you individually on your characters, but a part of it was just setting out, like, hey, you're the cops this time. Okay, this is a big reversal from the current theme. Like, you're trying to dodge the cops. Now you are the cops. Does your character idea fit with this? So, like, I would say anything from lawful evil to chaotic good. I would say, look, tell me about your character, but it's probably going to be okay. Neutral evil and chaotic neutral, I would be like, all right, I have some issues here. Tell me exactly how you plan your character to go. Chaotic evil, man, I don't know, like, you're really going to need to sell me on this idea. Like a chaotic evil person on a standard, like, sandbox running all over the north. Yeah, sure, fair enough. You might find yourself at odds with the table, but a chaotic evil character in this setting, you're probably going to find yourself at odds with the campaign.
Yeah.
Like, we had a guy make a character in a campaign I played in a while ago, and it was we were halfway through the campaign. He joined us halfway in. We were doing this sequence of, like, psychic adventures. And the DM says, all right, who's going in, who's staying guard, who's doing what? And this guy's first thing was, no, that sounds boring. I want to go exploring. We're like, why? Why would you write a character and not play in the adventure? It's like, well, that's what my character would do. Then write a character who wouldn't do that.
Like, literally, why would my character, like, the moments, like, I've played Adventure League a few times, and it was like, why would my character be here? It's like, because, they're trying to do something, like, figure it out. Like, if your character shouldn't be here, then you shouldn't be at this table, because clearly you don't understand how to make a character that'll just somewhat work with the team, like, because it's the idea of obedience. Like, working together means you're stupid. I want to be my own person. I want to be the guy that's different. So they're like, yeah, dude, but, like, you're playing D&D. Even at level 20, you're not going to be able to beat, like, most, like, CR8 things. They're still going to kill you because you're by yourself. You don't have the power to do that. It's like it's a party game. You need a team.
If you're running through Undermountain, don't run off by yourself to try to clear the level in twice the time. Yeah. If the DM keeps telling you, you keep getting this notion, maybe running through here by myself is not a good idea. Don't turn to them and go, why do I keep thinking that? Take the hint! Go back to the party!
Because you're gonna get killed. You're gonna get killed. There's a lot of bugbears in there, and you only have 2 arms and 2 legs. They're gonna get you.
I like the character that is, like, old and bristled and resistant to change, but still goes with the flow of everybody else. Like their character isn't changing, but the areas around them are, and they're okay with it. That was kind of like the idea I had for like my backup character, the hunter.
Have you guys thought about backups? I haven't thought about a backup even slightly.
This is something that
I haven't either.
I talked about.
Not even slightly.
Even as a player, I discourage thinking about backups. I tell people, like there was a guy at my table I'm great friends with. He's a real sweetheart. Someone got him onto building mechanical characters, like taking this ability, adding it to that ability, putting in this bonus. He's a monster now, but he's a sweetheart monster. But he kept talking about, my backup character. I'm like, dude, stop talking about your backup characters. If you are not 100% invested in keeping this character alive, you are not 100% invested in keeping this party alive. Because these encounters are balanced for us. And if you die because you're like, it doesn't matter, I'm excited to play, I really want to play my backup character, I'm going to let my guy die this time, you guys. We're like, well, we can't, we fucking need you, man. You're our striker. You're the guy who stands up the back putting arrows in people's heads.
I think I've only ever had one character where the philosophy for the character was, I don't care if this character survives, but I was playing a barbarian who, as soon as it was like, okay, fight, kill that guy, he was like, okay, rage, and now I'm going to do everything I can to absolutely go full Kratos and murder that guy. So it was, to me, I had to tell myself, I don't care if this character survives, because that was the only way that I could commit to a full balls out rage against monsters that I have absolutely no business running into striking distance of. And
no reason I should be fighting a gold dragon.
But
going for it.
If you go into your character already
times.
knowing that, that's okay. If you talk to your party, be like, hey, so I'm making this character and he has 2 modes, chill and fuck everything.
Yeah.
They know that. That's okay. They can plan for that. But if, my main issue is, and again, this is just one way of approaching your characters. If someone else could be like, well, here's how I approach my backups. Oh, yeah, that's quite reasonable. If that works, well, you do it. But it's, I want people invested in keeping their characters alive. When you have this really great backup character concept, you're sitting there and you're like, man, this is how I'd play it if I was playing character number 2. You lose your immersion, you lose your character investment. I would lose my immersion. I would lose my character investment. So, it's fun to dream about. One day I want to try that Tabaxi monk that can run 180 feet in 6 seconds. I want to break the game someday, but I'm not going to write like this whole tortured backstory for them and start developing their characterizations because, I like my artificer.
And I think
I have a Warforged artificer in the game that I play with Sween, and it's a fun class. And one of the things I definitely wanted to do with this game is I wanted to make a character that wasn't like that character, because I'm very good at playing arcane spellcasters. I don't have a lot of experience with divine spellcasters. And I'm a very tricksy little shit when it comes to arcane spellcasters. I know that there's a couple things that I've dropped in that game already where other people playing have been like, what? Like, yeah, I'm just gonna make a flashlight right now. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm sorry, what? So it's
did not see that coming.
Yeah, I on the other hand, I play characters that are usually very over the top is a way that people could say my characters are. Like in our campaign where I played a Ren, our DM was putting on like a show in like the town area, and I like teleported up there and like completely fucked the show up. Like entirely, like just ruined it. And like I got it to get back on trail, but like literally every guard was like coming down to kill me. And I was like, just play it off. Come on, like let's do this. And our DM was just like, that was ridiculous, but good shit. Here's inspiration. Like that somehow turned out well.
Nice.
And like, I don't know if Gabe's that kind of guy to be like, try something crazy, because I feel like him trying something crazy is going to result in like you guys walking in and him cleaning off his blade and being like, hey, don't go in there.
Don't go in there.
Well,
Keegan.
Like audience, like just from an audience standpoint, I mean, you pick out a favorite character and you want to see the person play that character the best of their ability, and maybe if they have their heart's not in 100%, you might feel let down if that character retires out of nowhere, or if they die unceremoniously, just as like a throwaway for the player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe if we keep our characters alive as long as possible, it would probably come across better in the show.
Imagine if a year and a half in, Travis Willingham's like, I would like to rage, but I'm bored with grog and I don't want the damage to be halved, so I will just go in and swing my sword without raging. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, Willingham, get your shit together. Like, imagine Mercer pulling him behind, get your shit together, all right? My hair's too pretty for the go through this shit, all right? I have such beautiful hair. Don't fuck with me, Willingham.
I don't know what Matthew Mercer's hair care routine is. I'm honestly terrified at the thought. If I raise my elbows to the level of my shoulders, I'm in pain. So the idea of washing my hair like with that much care and adding all those extra products, Matthew Mercer's hair legitimately scares me. And you can turn that into a clip if you want. I will tag him in it on Twitter.
You got to put that. That has to be a TikTok. That has to become a TikTok. Matthew Mercer's hair scares the shit out of me.
Well, do you guys want to end it on that? We're at 1 hour and 10.
Yeah.
I guess Mercer's hair is as
Mercer's
good of any.
The last laugh.
That's the showstopper.
That's it.
Matthew Mercer's hair gets the last laugh. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again. I'm sorry this has been a less than normal episode. I don't want to say episode, but a less than normal stream for the Law and Order show. We can blame. I keep forgetting the name of the ISP, but we're just going to blame
Spectrum.
them. Spectrum, get your shit together. We miss our cast members.
Spectrum's Twitter for us.
What I will say, what I wanted to mention earlier is going back for a few minutes to the broadsheets. I also want the broadsheets to be an opportunity for our audience, and particularly our subscribers, our watchmen. If you get onto Twitter and maybe drop something, an idea for a story, and just maybe use the hashtag Daily Trumpet Tips, that can be a way. Because look, making up the news every 2 days, because it's the Daily Trumpet releases a broadsheet every second day, because a week is 10 days, so it's 5 sheets a week. Now, obviously, you know, we spent 2 months doing one night, so that's going to be a whole thing. But yeah, making up the news is difficult. I don't know how NBC does it all the time.
Damn.
Yeah, if you've got an idea, even it like Hassan the Hun has appeared in one of our broadsheets before. He's got to appear in the next one, I think, after that Twitch leak. You know, if you've got an idea of how to turn an existing story into a funny take using D&D terms, put that shit in a tweet, throw out a hashtag Daily Trumpet Tips, tag Law and Order, and you know what? You might just find it appearing in Waterdeep.
You gave the wrong people power just now, but okay. You just let the wolf. You gave the wolf the keys to the car and the chicken pen.
Hey. Earlier yesterday, I think it was, I explained to Jenna what Legerdemons is if she takes Arcane Trickster, that she can have an invisible mage hand that she doesn't need to gesticulate with to move around. As far as I'm concerned, power to the wrong people. That bridge is crossed. It's in the rear vision mirror. It's burning down. The smoke is choking everyone.
You're just
we can't go downhill from here, okay?
You're giving people the power of fire way too early. Like way too early in evolution. You're like, here's fire. 100% for the getting. And they're like,
nice. You just gave that monkey a handgun.
Here's grain storage and here's assault rifles. Go nuts.
All right, thank you again to all our audience. A very special thank you to all of our subscribers, our incredible watchmen.
Orbe and I think it was Delucia.
Delucia, yes. I think that's Lilith.
That would be Lilith.
Thank
you so much for joining the family, Lilith, and thank you,
Thank you, Half Pint. We appreciate it.
Love you, Shortstop. We will see you. I will see you again on probably a different day. I'm thinking maybe Friday night, Saturday mornings.
That is what time? Gotcha, cool. I might jump in on that because if it's done a different day, I know the 29th I'm busy, and I think that might be the day. But if it's not, I will definitely swing by and hang out with you guys.
You let me know. Okay. Yeah, my Curse of Strahd session's got to be rebooked to a different time slot each week. A couple of the players have had some changes, so I'm thinking that might be a great time to run the map stream so I can start heading back down to my game store on Sundays when my stupid ass body will allow me. So we'll see you in a couple of days, one way or the other, to keep working on. We're going to work on the bullpen. We're going to make a cop shop. Actually, I'll just go ahead and bring that back up in the view screen. That's where we're at. We're going to be possibly even finishing the ground floor on the next session. So possibly guest starring the Sween himself. And until then, # all Watchmen are bastards.